Konnichiwa readers, I have a special book that I want to share with you today. That's right, it's called Sakura's Cherry Blossom. And this is a special feature just for today, March 11th. And if you're wondering, well, how do I get more of these great books and inspiration for children's books? Click subscribe so you don't miss out on any other books. Now, today I wanted to honor and reflect on the tragedy that struck the Tohoku region 10 years ago. On March 11th, 2011, a natural disaster, earthquake and tsunami, devastated this region, resulting in loss of life, destruction of property and homes and everything else. And I actually have a personal connection. I had some friends and family who were overseas at this time in the area. And so it is something that is important to me, my friends, my family, and something that I want to make sure I give some recognition to. And so I would encourage you to take time to research and read about it. Today, look up the website Tohoku Tomo. There's a video made about the disaster with some firsthand experiences and recounts about the event. And so I thought today it would be very poignant and just a way to give back and to remember and reflect on those people whose lives were lost by sharing something about Japan and Japanese culture with you. So I hope you'll take a minute to listen to a little bit of the story and also time to explore Japan. It is a beautiful country. I did have the honor and privilege to visit friends and family while they were overseas and saw cherry blossoms firsthand, and they are gorgeous, just absolutely beautiful. And I've also seen them in Washington, D.C. as part of the National Cherry Blossom Festival, which I highly recommend if you ever have the opportunity to go. So let me share a little bit about Sakura. Sakura's Cherry Blossoms, written by Robert Paul Weston and Misa Sabura, and it's written actually in a poetic form, which is really cool. In fact, April is National Poetry Month, so you can hang on to it and revisit it again. So this tells the story of Sakura and her grandmother, and they are living in Japan. And one of their favorite things to do is to enjoy picnics under the cherry blossoms. In fact, cherry blossom means sakura, or sakura means cherry blossom. And so they love spending time together, enjoying the cherry blossoms, except Sakura gets news that they'll be moving to America. And as you can imagine, her world is shattered. What will it be like living in a new place? What does it mean to be lonely? How will she make new friends? What about grandmother is staying behind in Japan, and what will this mean for her as she embarks on this new adventure? So I'm going to share a little bit about this. Again, it's in that poetic form called a tanka, and that's very similar to a haiku. If you know, a haiku has 3 lines, tankas have 5, so 2 additional lines. And as you can see, we've got grandmother here, and you can see the 5 lines there. And I'm just going to read a little bit of the story, and I would encourage you to check it out at your local bookstore or a local library so that you can read a copy or buy a copy or share with somebody that you know. Sakura loved spring, her favorite time of year. This made perfect sense. Her name means cherry blossom, trees that only blossom in spring. More than anything, she loved sitting underneath the tall cherry tree, side by side with Obatsu-chan, whose voice was warm like sunshine. And I just love that imagery there. So as you can see, there's a nice little picnic here with traditional Japanese food, sushi. If you've never tried, highly recommend that as well. Together they sat in the shade of pink petals, watching them flutter. They ate bento box lunches. They told each other stories. I've watched this tree grow all my life, said Obatsu-chan. This is how I learned. Seeing these blossoms in bloom is always finest with friends. Now, I love this page here. You see her on the plane. You see the image of rice there, kind of this cross-culture as she embarks to a new land, leaving behind a land that is familiar and known to her. Sakura's father would soon begin a new job in America. They would fly across the sea where a whole new life awaited. High up in the plane, it seemed like a miracle, racing through the clouds, so fluffy and pale like rice, scooped fresh from Obatsu-chan's pot. And I'm going to stop it there. She travels, she arrives into her new home, into her new neighborhood, and encounters a little boy named Luke, who is a quiet little boy next door. And so I would encourage you to read this, see what kind of friendship can emerge, how she stays connected, what happens with her grandmother. And I also would encourage you to explore a little bit about the Japanese culture. So perhaps picking up a nonfiction book. It's great. I love pairing fiction and nonfiction together, and explore a little bit about the customs and traditions in Japan. the food, some of the geographical features of it. It could be a world that is totally unknown to you. And so I highly recommend you do some reading about Japan. It is truly a wonderful place. Again, check out the website Tohoku Tomo so you can learn a little bit about the disaster and how people's lives were affected. And take a moment to reflect because this was a major disaster that devastated the lives of many. And so I thank you for tuning in today. Check out all that you can about Japan at your library, online, or at a bookstore. And I will see you next time. Don't forget to click subscribe. Happy reading.